Leave It to Beaver looked like the perfect family show. On screen, everything seemed bright and neat. Smiling children, a cheerful family, and valuable lessons at the end of every episode. America loved it, and the ratings reflected that. Reruns kept the show alive for years, and later, the movie adaptation introduced a new generation to the world of the Cleavers. Yet behind that sunny image, things were not always as they appeared. The producers faced tough choices on set, cast pressures, and scripts that sometimes pushed boundaries. One particular episode caused chaos, and whispers ran through the studio halls. Some of these issues were resolved quickly, but other secrets remained hidden for decades. The show stayed clean and wholesome on screen, but the truth behind the cameras was messy. This story is about the people behind the magic, the cast, the producers, and the small, sometimes surprising choices that made the show unforgettable. The center of the story was young Theodore, Beaver, Cleaver, played by Jerry Mathers. The show was a reflection of middle-class suburban America in the 1950s and early 1960s, and it captured the essence of growing up during that time. Beaver was innocent, curious, and often got into trouble, but that was what made him so relatable to viewers. He was not a perfect child, and that honesty made him America's boy. Over time, his attitude toward the world around him, including girls and teachers, evolved naturally. He developed crushes and curiosity, and each episode explored a small part of his life. School, neighborhood adventures, and family lessons, showing how a child's world could reflect the experiences of an entire generation. Beaver's world became the world of children dreaming big in post-war America, and it is no surprise that audiences still look back on this show with a warm sense of nostalgia. Behind the charm, however, were stories of chance and luck that shaped the cast. Jerry Mathers did not get the part in a traditional way. At his audition, he showed up in his Cub Scout uniform because he had a meeting immediately afterward. When asked if he was excited to audition, he honestly said he would rather be at his Cub Scout meeting. While most children might think this honesty would cost them the role, producers Joe Connolly and Bob Mosher saw a spark in Mathers they could not ignore. They wanted a boy who could be himself on screen, not someone who acted rehearsed. This simple truthfulness became the defining factor for casting Beaver and shaped the show's authenticity. Mathers had some experience in commercials and small movie roles, but Leave It to Beaver would define his career. The charm of Beaver came from being real, from being a child audiences could trust and relate to. Beaver's older brother, Wally Cleaver, played by Tony Dow, had a very different path. Dow had no prior acting experience. He was a trained athlete, lifeguard, and diving champion who competed in the Junior Olympics. He was discovered almost by chance at the pool because of his confidence and good looks. His natural athleticism and discipline helped him transition into acting easily. Despite having no experience, Dow quickly developed chemistry with Mathers, making the brotherly bond on screen feel real. Together, the actors brought authenticity to the Cleaver family, and their natural performances allowed the audience to forget the cameras and immerse themselves in the show. Fame could have been dangerous for the young actors, so the producers took unusual steps to protect them, including asking Mathers and Dow not to watch the show themselves to avoid developing big egos. Barbara Billingsley, who played June Cleaver, faced her own hidden challenges. While she always looked polished on screen, the reality was different. Pearls and scarves she wore were not just for style. They covered a hollow spot on her neck from surgery. Even as she worked on set, she had to maintain the illusion of a perfect mother. As her sons grew taller, she was asked to wear high heels to preserve the family dynamic on screen. Behind the composed and elegant on-screen mother was a woman balancing personal struggles, professional demands, and the responsibility of raising her children alone after her husband passed away. Her real-life experience informed her performance, making her role more believable and inspiring. Billingsley often advised writers to make the boy's mischief more realistic, ensuring her character's responses were authentic. Ward Cleaver, played by Hugh Beaumont, brought real-life wisdom to the show. Before acting, Beaumont was an ordained minister, giving him years of experience guiding people and understanding moral lessons. This background helped him deliver advice and fatherly guidance on screen naturally. Off-screen, however, He experienced tragedy, including a car accident involving his family that claimed his mother-in-law's life. Beaumont also struggled with being typecast and often felt overshadowed by the young stars, yet he remained professional and found creative fulfillment writing and directing episodes, such as Family Scrapbook, which allowed the family to reminisce on screen. Many episodes were inspired by real life, with producer Joe Connolly keeping notebooks of childhood stories that became the heart of the show. The supporting cast also had interesting post-show lives. Ken Osmond, who played Eddie Haskell, was often misremembered in urban legends as becoming rock star Alice Cooper. In reality, he joined the Los Angeles Police Department, serving in dangerous roles including the motorcycle and narcotics divisions. He survived being shot during a chase and later co-wrote a book about his experiences. Frank Bank, who played Lumpy, became a stockbroker after acting and later published an autobiography revealing surprising personal stories. These paths show how the show shaped actors' lives in unexpected ways and how their experiences mirrored the lessons of the Cleaver family, facing challenges with resilience and creativity. Behind the scenes, other fascinating details shaped the show. Larry Rusty Stevens, who played Beaver's friend, disappeared from the series due to his mother's interference, showing how parental involvement could affect child actors. The show also broke subtle taboos, like showing a toilet tank on TV for the first time, which was nearly censored. The fictional town of Mayfield was purposefully left unnamed to create universality, making viewers feel it could be their own hometown. The Cleaver House set, built on the Universal Studios backlit, remains iconic, blending studio sets with real-life footage for authenticity. Early production involved casting changes, such as replacing the original Ward Cleaver actor Max Showalter with Hugh Beaumont, and even the title nearly changed from Wally and the Beaver to Leave It to Beaver due to sponsor preferences. The show's long-lasting appeal came from its attention to authenticity, relatability, and a focus on children's perspectives. Unlike most programs of the era, which emphasized parents, Leave It to Beaver explored the world through a child's eyes, capturing innocence, curiosity, and mistakes in a relatable way. This approach helped parents understand their children better and allowed young viewers to see themselves in Beaver's adventures. The blend of real-life struggles, thoughtful storytelling, and wholesome humor ensured the show remained beloved decades later. Even after the show ended, the actors' lives reflected the lessons they had portrayed. Mathers focused on normalcy, education, and music before returning briefly to entertainment. Barbara Billingsley overcame typecasting and returned to the screen in unexpected roles like Airplane, proving her versatility. Dow's athleticism and creative discipline guided his life, while Osmond and Bank pursued meaningful careers outside Hollywood. Each member of the cast lived lives rich with lessons, challenges, and personal growth, mirroring the values they conveyed on screen. Their journeys emphasize that behind the perfect Cleaver family, real people faced real struggles, making the show's magic all the more enduring. Leave It to Beaver remains a symbol of timeless television. The show combined honesty, heart, humor, and behind-the-scenes human stories that audiences could relate to. From first auditions to life after Hollywood, every actor and producer involved contributed to creating a program that reflected the realities of growing up while maintaining a wholesome image. It set new standards, told stories from children's perspectives, and left a legacy that continues to influence television today. The perfect show had hidden complexities, but those complexities only made the Cleavers more real, their lessons more meaningful, and their stories unforgettable. Leave It to Beaver is often remembered as the quintessential family show. On screen, it appeared flawless. Smiling faces, a neatly kept house, and life lessons neatly packaged at the end of each episode. America fell in love with the Cleaver family, and the show's ratings climbed steadily. Its reruns kept it alive for years, and a later movie adaptation brought a whole new generation into Beaver's world. But behind the sunny surface, there was more than met the eye. The producers faced difficult decisions on set, cast members dealt with pressures both on and off the camera, and some scripts pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable for family television. One episode, in particular, caused chaos, leaving whispers in the studio halls. Some problems were solved quickly, while other secrets remained hidden for decades. The show presented a clean, wholesome image on screen, yet the reality behind the cameras was far more complicated. This story explores the cast, the backstage drama, and the little-known secrets the producers hoped audiences would never see. At the heart of the show was young Theodore, Beaver, Cleaver, played by Jerry Mathers. The show reflected the everyday life of middle-class suburban America during the 1950s and early 1960s. Beaver was innocent, curious, and often stumbled into trouble, traits that made him highly relatable to viewers. He was not perfect, which made him feel real. As the series progressed, audiences watched Beaver grow, developing a curiosity about the world, including a fascination with teachers like Miss Canfield and Miss Landers. Each episode explored a slice of his life, whether it was school, neighborhood adventures, or family dynamics, showing that a child's perspective could mirror the broader experiences of an entire generation. Beaver's world symbolized the aspirations and dreams of children in post-war America, and even decades later, fans look back at the show with warm nostalgia, remembering a time when television felt simple, comforting, and genuinely reflective of everyday life. Behind the charm of the show were fascinating stories about how the cast came together, often by sheer luck. Jerry Mathers didn't land the role in a typical way. At his audition, he showed up wearing his Cub Scout uniform because he had another meeting afterward. When asked if he was excited about the part, he honestly replied that he would rather be at his Cub Scout meeting. Most children might think honesty like that would cost them the role, but producers Joe Connolly and Bob Mosher saw something special. They wanted a child who could be himself on camera rather than someone overly rehearsed. Mathers' natural behavior became the key to casting him as Beaver, and it defined the authenticity of the show. While Mathers had some experience in commercials and small movie roles, Leave It to Beaver became his defining career role, with his charm rooted in his real personality rather than scripted performance. Wally Cleaver, Beaver's older brother, was played by Tony Dow and had a very different path. Unlike Mathers, Dow had no prior acting experience. He was an athlete, lifeguard, and diving champion who competed in the Junior Olympics. His discovery was almost accidental. Someone noticed his confidence and good looks while he was at the pool. Dow brought discipline and focus from his athletic background, which helped him transition into acting effortlessly. Despite having no experience, Dow quickly developed a believable chemistry with Mathers, making the brotherly bond on screen feel real. Together, the two boys' performances created a family dynamic that audiences could trust and relate to. The producers were aware of the potential dangers of fame for young actors, so they implemented unusual measures, like asking the boys not to watch their own performances. The idea was to prevent egos from inflating, keeping them grounded despite their popularity. Barbara Billingsley, who played June Cleaver, faced her own hidden struggles behind the perfect on-screen image. While June appeared polished and composed, Billingsley had real-life challenges that viewers never saw. Pearls and scarves she wore were not just style statements, they covered a hollow spot on her neck caused by surgery. As her sons grew taller, she was asked to wear high heels to maintain the on-screen height difference, ensuring that she visually appeared as the matriarch of the family. Off-screen, she balanced personal struggles, professional demands, and raising her children as a single mother after her husband passed away. Billingsley used her experiences as a mother to enrich her performance, ensuring that June's responses to Beaver and Wally's antics were authentic. She even influenced the writing, advising the team to make the boys' misbehavior realistic so her character's frustration would feel genuine. Hugh Beaumont, who played Ward Cleaver, brought life experience and moral guidance to the show. Before acting, Beaumont was an ordained minister, providing him years of experience guiding people and understanding ethics and morality. This background helped him portray Ward Cleaver as a calm, wise, and loving father, delivering advice naturally and convincingly. Yet, behind the scenes, Beaumont faced personal challenges. He lived in Minnesota, but traveled to Los Angeles to film the series. During one trip, his family experienced a tragic car accident that resulted in the death of his mother-in-law. Beaumont was filled with regret for accepting the role, even as he became America's idealized father figure. He also struggled with typecasting, often overshadowed by the young stars, but found creative fulfillment by writing and directing episodes, including Family Scrapbook, where the Cleavers reminisced about memories, connecting real-life stories to the on-screen family narrative. The supporting cast also had extraordinary post-show lives. Ken Osmond, who played Eddie Haskell, was often mistakenly rumored to have become rock star Alice Cooper, but the truth was far more remarkable. Osmond joined the Los Angeles Police Department, serving in the motorcycle and narcotics divisions. During one chase, he was shot 3 times, but his bulletproof vest saved him. Later, he co-wrote a book about his experiences, living a life of bravery and public service far different from his on-screen persona. Frank Bank, who portrayed Lumpy Rutherford, left acting to become a stockbroker and later wrote an autobiography detailing surprising personal stories, including his romantic escapades. These trajectories show how actors' real lives often diverged sharply from their characters, yet both contributed to the enduring legacy of the show. Behind the scenes, production had its own secrets. Larry Rusty Stevens, who played Beaver's friend Larry Mondello, disappeared from the series due to his mother's interference. She made constant demands of the producers, ultimately leading to her son's removal. This highlighted the influence parents could have on child actors' careers, contrasting with the supportive presences of Mathers and Dow's mothers, who ensured the boys remained grounded and comfortable during filming. Even seemingly small moments were groundbreaking. One episode featured a toilet tank on television, a bold move at the time, as even a bathroom was considered inappropriate for family viewing. The show also created the fictional town of Mayfield without specifying a state, allowing audiences nationwide to feel a personal connection. Set design also played a crucial role in creating authenticity. The Cleaver House, built on the Universal Studios backlit, remains iconic. The production team blended studio sets with real-life footage, including scenes from Skokie, Illinois, to make the town feel like any American suburb. Early production changes included replacing the original actor for Ward Cleaver, Max Showalter, with Hugh Beaumont. Even the show's title nearly changed from Wally and the Beaver to Leave It to Beaver, with sponsors believing the original sounded too much like a nature program. One particularly expensive episode, The Soup, required building a giant billboard and staging a dramatic stunt that became iconic and was later referenced in shows like Family Guy. The show's narrative style was also innovative for its time. Unlike other family series, which focused primarily on parents, Leave It to Beaver highlighted a child's perspective. Audiences saw life through Beaver's eyes, understanding his mistakes, curiosity, and emotions. Parents watching could gain insights into their own children, while young viewers saw reflections of themselves in Beaver's adventures. This storytelling approach, paired with relatable characters and real-life inspirations, ensured the show's timeless appeal. Life after the show continued to reflect lessons learned on set. Mathers focused on school, music, and a normal life before returning briefly to entertainment. Billingsley overcame typecasting, returning in surprising roles like the 1980 comedy Airplane, proving she could step beyond June Cleaver. Tony Dow's athleticism and discipline guided his future endeavors, while Osmond and Bank pursued meaningful careers outside of Hollywood. Each actor's journey demonstrated that the experiences and values from Leave It to Beaver had a lasting impact, shaping not only audiences, but the performers themselves. Ultimately, Leave It to Beaver remains a symbol of timeless television, combining honesty, heart, humor, and real-life inspiration. From casting to life after Hollywood, every member of the cast contributed to a show that reflected the reality of growing up while maintaining a wholesome and idealized image. Behind the perfect Cleaver family were real people with struggles, triumphs, and lessons, making the show's magic even more enduring. The Cleavers were a reflection of America, perfect in appearance but human in essence, and that duality is why audiences continue to treasure this series decades later. Narrator: Leave It to Beaver looked perfect. Neat house, smiling faces, and a life lesson neatly delivered at the end of every episode. America loved it. Ratings climbed. Reruns kept it alive. Later, the movie brought the story back to theaters and introduced a whole new generation to the Cleaver family. But behind the sunny picture, there were stories the producers didn't want you to know. Narrator: The cast faced pressures, scripts pushed boundaries, and one episode caused real trouble on set, leaving whispers in studio halls. Some problems were solved quickly, while others stayed secret for years. The show stayed clean on screen, but off-screen, reality was messy. Today, we explore the cast, the drama, and the secrets the producers hoped would remain hidden forever. Narrator. At the heart of the show was young Theodore Beaver Cleaver, played by Jerry Mathers. Leave It to Beaver reflected life in middle-class suburban America during the 1950s and early 1960s. Beaver was innocent, curious, and often stumbled into trouble. He wasn't perfect, and that made him relatable to viewers. Over the seasons, his attitude toward girls and authority evolved. He developed crushes on teachers like Miss Canfield and Miss Landers. Each episode explored school, home, or neighborhood adventures, showing how one child's experiences could reflect the life of an entire generation. Beaver's world symbolized the dreams of children in post-war America, and decades later, fans still look back with nostalgia. Narrator. How did Mathers land the role? By being honest. At his audition, he wore his Cub Scout uniform because he had a meeting afterward. When asked if he was excited about the role, he admitted he'd rather be at Scouts. Most kids might think honesty like that would cost them the part, but producers Joe Connolly and Bob Mosher saw a spark of realness. They wanted a boy who could just be himself on camera. Mathers' natural charm became the soul of the show, and while he had experience in commercials and small movie roles, Beaver would become the defining role of his life. Narrator. Wally Cleaver, Beaver's older brother, was played by Tony Dow, whose journey was very different. Dow had no acting experience and was discovered almost by chance. A trained athlete and junior Olympic diving champion, he was noticed at the pool for his confidence and good looks. Dow's athletic discipline helped him transition into acting effortlessly. His natural chemistry with Mathers made their brotherly bond believable and unforgettable. The producers, aware of fame's dangers for child actors, asked the boys not to watch their performances, keeping them grounded and humble despite nationwide popularity. Narrator. Barbara Billingsley, who played June Cleaver, faced challenges the audience never saw. Her pearls weren't just a fashion statement, they covered a hollow spot left by surgery. As her sons grew taller, she wore high heels to maintain the on-screen motherly height difference. Off-screen, she balanced professional demands and raising 2 children as a single mother. Billingsley used these real experiences to make June's reactions to Beaver and Wally authentic, even influencing writers to make the boys' misbehavior realistic. Narrator. Hugh Beaumont, who played Ward Cleaver, brought life experience to the role. Before acting, he was an ordained minister. This background gave him the calm and moral authority to portray the ideal TV father. But his personal life had struggles. Traveling from Minnesota to LA for filming, his family was involved in a tragic car accident that claimed his mother-in-law's life. Despite becoming America's perfect father, he struggled with guilt and frustration from fame and typecasting. He channeled his creativity by writing and directing episodes, including Family Scrapbook, connecting the Cleavers' fictional memories with real life.